What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. So this stream is going to be a little bit odd. As you can see, we're in the unboxing mode again. Or the tabletop? I call this unboxing. And I guess in this case it is actually unboxing. So today we have Taco Bolas. My favorite new playmat. I got this like 2 weeks ago, I think? I want to say 2 weeks ago. But today, what we're doing is I got some of these packages here from good old TCGplayer.com. Actually, the first time I've ordered from them. This is not sponsored. I should throw that out there before we start. This is not a sponsored stream, but we are just going to be getting some of these cards here. I ordered a bunch of them for the Commander Deck that I've been working on. This is how much I've gotten done, and this is what we'll be using to sleeve everything. Over in the corner down below me, I got my my TCG. What is this one? This one is tappedout.net. Also not sponsored. Once again, just want to throw that out there just in case. But down below me, I got my TCG player. Sorry, no, tappedout.net. We're just gonna be updating my deck lists. Kind of just chilling out, having a good time. So I'm gonna start by opening all three of these packages. I've got my trusty knife here. This Leatherman is old. I actually think this might have been my military Leatherman. I don't remember. It's been around for a while. I'm gonna turn that down, make it just kind of some mood music in the background. If I can find a way to do this without potentially harming myself, that'd be great. It's been a while since I've had to knife. This one's weird too because they actually put a piece of tape over it. So usually you can just kind of open it. This time it's not so easy. I think that might have been enough. I think we might have gotten just enough here. We can kind of get into this cardboard. This is the only cardboard we want to get into. We don't want to get into any of those precious, precious cards inside. There we go. Look at that. Listen to this ASMR opening up a package. Y'all want that? Ooh. Oh yeah. Listen to that cardboard. This is now an ASMR stream. Should have put it as such. What we got here? I think this is just all the package list. What's all in here? Probably has some of my personal information on it. Yeah, probably. Looks like it. We'll just set this aside for later. Everything should be good though. It's got a little bag on the inside too. So we'll set that one aside for now, and we'll get to the next one. Just to get these out of the way. Ooh. Hey, I'm just gonna open up this package if you don't mind. Ooh. It actually probably doesn't sound as good as I think it does. Can't tell. It's kind of spiking, so probably not. But this one also does have some bubble wrap in it. I'm gonna be a little more careful with this. I'm not really doing anything to the main package. Just kind of off to the side. So that should be fine. I'm just gonna pull this out. Also, I know that my face cam is not the best. Anybody who's been around long enough to have seen some of my other unboxings or where I have this set up where I've got the two cameras, knows that I put my good camera down here so you can actually see what's going on, and I got my really crappy, like, I want to say like circa 2005 camera up here, in which case, like, it's good for that, but no, it's not a good camera. You can see my shirt blends in with my chair, my snow blends in with my bag. Look at that, look at that. He's very upsetty, but you know what? Bubble wrap. Ooh, we got some more. Oh. Ooh. Ooh, it's so good. I love bubble wrap. Probably not gonna use that for anything. This one, actually, we can use the rip tab. I don't need my my knife for this one, so that's good. Because I actually don't like having it out, and I probably shouldn't have left it sitting there with its blade. That's dumb. I should have done that right next to the mic. Y'all would have loved it. Just kidding. You probably hate it so much. That's another one in there. Okay. So, nice packaging. If we're gonna review the packaging, nice packaging. They got double layer with a nicer internal bubble. So, we'll take the big one first. We'll go in reverse order. I don't remember which of these packages had the most cards in it. They all had a good amount, but one of them definitely had more than the others. Okay, ooh, it's in like a little blister pack. I like this one. That might be one of my more expensive ones. Maybe they put it in a top loader. Because there were a few in this group of cards that I bought that they were up there. They were up there. Probably might not say exactly how much, but they were a little expensive. It's worth it. I like this deck. I really do. Every playtest I've done of it through this tapped out, I have very much liked how it plays. Alright, that's got my info on it, so we're just gonna stick that back in there, and there's number 2 with that Liege of the Tangle and the Rose Passage. Number 3 over here. Both of them have been very similar, which is kind of impressive to me because these actually came from different shippers. It's all from tcgplayer.net, but they've got a lot of different stores that sell through them, kind of like a marketplace. And so some of them clearly are about the same level of care as TCG Player themselves, and yeah, this one's looking about the same. Ooh, this one was Channel Fireball. Okay, so this one was the one where I probably ordered the most. Yeah, that's Channel Fireball was probably the one that I got the most from. So this one should have some of those big boys in it. So let's see. I'll kind of set these off. We'll go in the same order we started with. So this first one. Ooh. Oh, it's just like ASMR. Except worse in literally every way. Every way. No. Let me just, oh, okay, I see. So the top loader was empty, but they used it basically to add rigidity and some protection to keep these cards from getting bent, because this thing is going to take way more force to bend than cardboard would. Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea. I kind of thought maybe there would be like a higher value card in there, but no. I see what they did. I like that. Plus it gives me some extra top loaders. I actually found... I bought myself a pack of top loaders. I don't know if I'm going to use them or not. I had a card or two in them, but I don't know. I find just double sleeving is enough. Ooh. Sounds so good. Oh, this one is a little more loose. But that's fine, because this is also the one that I ordered the most stuff from. Also, I see I have that directly in the light source, and that's reflecting literally everything. Let me get that out of there so y'all can actually see some stuff. So here we got my 3. I kind of don't remember which one came from where. Put that over there. So here's what we got so far. Hopefully it's not too bad trying to show these off. I got some stuff in here I gotta take out too. We're gonna do half and half here. Let me find where my lands start, because I actually have these sorted out. So we got Adventurous Impulse. This one's actually holographic. Cleansing Nova. This one I actually pulled from a pack, Crucible of Worlds. Elvish Rejuvenator. I went over and got this from my local card shop, the Fantasy Shop in St. Charles. Very nice place if you're in the local area. And if you are, I will totally see you there sometimes. Ooh, hey, I totally missed some messages. Hi, Lucky Khajiit. I've been off in my own little world for like 4 minutes. What's going on? This setup looks okay. It's not my favorite, but you can definitely see what's going on for sure. This is the worst. This face cam is terrible. Lurking while you finish raiding? Okay. Oh, you're raiding, so you probably can't even hear what I'm saying right now. But yeah, we got the Elvish Rejuvenator promo. I did buy this, I didn't earn it, but you know what? It just looks so good, I wanted it. Growth of Ashes, got this as a shiny too. Jotty Offshoot, same thing. I decided to bling my deck. I'm not gonna lie. I probably shouldn't have. I'm way too new, but you know what? God, some of these look so good. Look at this Ornery Hydra. Not as holographic as some of the other ones. Like, you see that holograph? It's really vibrant. This one is kind of, it's there. The Immortal Sun. This one I didn't get holographic, but I just love this card. Its effect is great. I think its artwork looks really cool, too. Ulvenweld Hydra. There's a lot of Hydras in here, because you're going to have a lot of extra mana. Wayward Swordtooth. We've seen this guy on a few streams of mine. I really like him, and in a deck like this, he's going to be super useful, and probably will actually come out after you can play him. Or after you can start using his attacks and blocks. Zendikar Resurgent. Doubles my mana. Really good, really good. Gaia's Blessing. Great. It recurs most of my graveyard back into my deck. I did spring for some foils. Grun the Lonely King. Tristani, Selesnya's Voice. I got this from the Selesnya Guild Kit. I actually got a few things from the Selesnya Guild Kit. I bought a Selesnya Guild Kit, and I have kind of cannibalized it for this deck. Not sure what I'm going to do with the rest yet. Conclave Tribunal, just cause. Explore. May play an additional land this turn, draw a card. Farhaven Elf. I'm still not sure of. This one was in my maybe board. The thing is, though, Farhaven Elf is the same effect, more or less, as the Elvish Rejuvenator, but better. So, they're both 3-drops. 2 colorless, 1 green. They're both 1/1s. The difference is, Elvish Rejuvenator lets you put any regular land card, just any land, doesn't have to be basic, just any land, but only from the top 5 cards of your library. Farhaven Elf lets you put any basic land from anywhere in your library, so you get to search for that one. So, they're both really good effects, and I kind of want both of them, but I'm going to have a lot of land, like, what do you call it? I want to call it dredging. Let's call it dredging. Land dredging. We're going to dredge them up from my library. Hunting Wilds. Soul Ring. It's a Soul Ring. Avenger of Zendikar. I really like this one. There's a kind of one sub-theme to this deck that is these plant tokens. And Avenger of Zendikar is really what brings them all together, because it creates a 0/1 plant token for every land on my field when it enters the battlefield. And whenever a land enters the battlefield under my control, it will let me put 1/1 counters on all of my plant creatures, which, when this entire deck is about landfall effects and bringing lands out, it's going to be a lot. Rampaging Baloth, kind of the same thing. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under my control, create a 4/4 green beast creature token. Seer Sundial, whenever I play a land, I may pay 2 if I do draw a card. This one is a placeholder for this one, Growing Rights of Itilimok. You should set your setup and use it to play over my stream. It actually probably would work. We might have to try it sometime. So this one is Growing Rights of Itlamok. You may look at the top 4 cards in my library, reveal a creature card from among them, and put it into my hand. Rest on the bottom of my library in any order. At the beginning of my end step, if you control 4 or more creatures, transform Growing Rites, which turns into Itlamok, Cradle of the Sun, a legendary land. Tap to add green to my mana pool, or, the second effect, tap to add a green mana for each creature you control. I would love to put one of these in my elf deck. I actually might find a way to put one of these in my elf deck when I get back into my MTG Arena. I know it's been a while. I will get back. It's just going to be a bit. Eventually, I would love to make my elf deck in real life, too. Got some tokens. Not a whole lot yet. Just starting to. This one's kind of sitting off to the side. It was in my maybe deck, and I accidentally sleeved it. But I looked into the card effect, and it's really not that good. So I'm probably going to scrap this one. Not scrap, but, you know, get it out of my deck. It's probably not going in there. Then over here we've got Arch of Arazka. I've got the promo of it. Very nice. Tap to add colorless to my mana pool, or if I've ascended, 5 and a tap to draw a card. Detection Tower, we've seen this one a bunch. 1 and a tap, and you can remove hexproof from your opponent's creatures. Freaking sweet. Tranquil Thicket. I went back and forth on this one for a while, but decided it's really good because I've got Graveyard Recursion. It's really just tap for a green. So maybe the entering the battlefield tapped isn't a great effect, but the thing is, it has cycling for a green. And so cycling will let me pay 1 green to discard this card from my hand and draw another card. But since I have cards that let me play lands from the graveyard, having the ability to cycle this doesn't really matter. It's a positive card. It's a card benefit for me. So I cycle this, it goes to the graveyard, and then I can probably just play it from the graveyard as long as I've got the right things on the field. So it's actually really well synergized for my deck. Really cheap card draw. Temple of the False God. Tap to add 2 colorless mana, but I can only use this if I've got 5 or more lands. But once again, this deck is all about ramp, getting all these lands out on the field. It's gonna tap for 2. Conley Garden. Comes into the battlefield tapped, but creates a 0/1 green plant creature token. Kind of goes in with that Avenger of Zendikar. Mirror the Sky Ruin. This is another one of my Graveyard Recursion cards. At the beginning of my upkeep, if I control 7 or more planes, I can return a creature card to the battlefield from the graveyard. To the battlefield, for free. This is a good card. I love this one. Grasslands is probably the one that I'm a little iffy on. I might actually get rid of this one. I'm like 50-50 on it. It enters the battlefield tapped, and you tap it and sacrifice it to dredge up a forest or plains. So it seems a little slow to me to do something that I've got like some other cards in my deck that already do better. I don't know. I'm going back and forth on this one. I might replace this one with a different land card. And there's so many I can choose from. There's so many good lands for this deck. Opal Palace. Tap to add colors to my mana pool. 1 and a tap. Add to your mana pool 1 mana of any color in your commander's identity. If you spend this to cast your commander, it enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 token. For this deck, this might not be the greatest thing. I could see this being much better in a Planeswalker commander deck, or one that relied on your commander being the big bad, you know. But this deck isn't really based around that, so another one I would be totally willing to replace. Salt-Crested Steppe. Now this one's kind of interesting. It acts as a mana battery. So you can tap it for colorless mana, but if you pay 1 and tap this, you put a storage counter on the Salt-Crested Steppe, and then if you pay 1, you can remove X storage counters and add X mana in any combination of green or white. So this basically acts as a mana battery for later on. What am I using for basic lands? We'll get to that. We're not quite there. Grove of the Guardian. Tap to add colorless or 5, 3 green, white, and a tap. Tap 2 untapped creatures and sacrifice this card to create an 8/8 green and white elemental creature token with vigilance. Now, once again, recursion. Sacrifice this. Bring out an 8/8 creature token. Oh, now I can play a land card from my graveyard. Do it again. I love the recursion in this deck, and it has so much. Selesnya Guildgate, just a really nice Guildgate. It doesn't really have any effect. It's slow, but it's good. Now, Selesnya Sanctuary I kind of like. It does make you bump a land card off of your field when Selesnya Sanctuary enters the battlefield, but when you tap it, you get 2 mana. You always get green and white at the same time. Forge of Heroes, tap to add colorless, or tap it to add a 1/1 counter or a loyalty counter to a planeswalker, or I'm sorry, commander that entered the battlefield this turn. Blighted Woodland. This is another one I might replace. Its effect is really only for this secondary, which requires you to pay 4 in order to bring up 2 basic land cards. I've already got so much that's dredging up these basic lands from my library that I don't know if I need that one. Evolving Wilds for Evolving Wilds, and Terramorphic Expanse, which is also Evolving Wilds, with a different name. Haunted Phenograph, 3 and a tap, sacrifice, return a creature card at random from your graveyard to your hand. So once again, this is another graveyard recursion. I've got a lot of that in this deck. Command Tower. It's a Command Tower. And now, for my favorites, the basic lands. These beautiful Selesnya Guild Kit basic lands. I absolutely adore the Guild Kit basic lands that they give you. These look so good. The artwork on them is super clean, super crisp, really captures the field of the guilds, and the border around the actual mana symbol is just so nicely done. I absolutely love these lands. So, we got 8 and 8. 8 plains, 8 forests. Everything else is kind of a specialty land, so I actually have more specialty lands than basic lands. I might adjust the balance at some point. I'm not sure yet. Probably not. So that's what I have so far. So we'll put these over here. All double sleeved, and I will be doing some double sleeving of these new cards today. If anybody needs a lesson in how to double sleeve, stick around. We will be double sleeving. Oof. Only thing I don't like about this camera is it's not on a very stable position, so it's kind of prone to vibrations. It's probably the only issue here. Alright, so here we have the remnants of what I've been doing. My outer sleeves, my inner sleeves. I don't think I have any others that are double-sided that we'll be getting here, so I shouldn't need my clear sleeves. So we're going to take our inner sleeves. So what I've been doing is actually reusing this adhesive, basically stick it to a solid surface, and then it'll kind of keep it open for me. Makes things a little bit easier. There's some quick tricks and tips from your boy. There we go. So now we got our sleeves available to us. And I think we're gonna start with these here big boys over here. Retreat to Kazandu. It's an enchantment within landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield, I can either gain 2 life or put a +1/+1 token on a target creature. that gets very large very quickly. I've actually found, especially with like the Hydras, that helps ramp very fast to some large creatures. So this is how you double sleeve. To anybody out there who needs to know, you take a very, very well fit outer sleeve. You can see how close that is cut. You put it over the top, so you go top down, leave the opening at the bottom, then you go into your larger sleeve, which you can see has plenty of clearance, and you put that around. And I've actually found it better to go kind of at the corners. It keeps it from potentially slipping in the middle. Sometimes if the outer sleeve's a little too tight, you can actually push the card out and it'll kind of be sticking out of the inner sleeve down at the bottom. But as you see here, everything's kind of nice and flush. Only problem is these are going to have a little bit of air in them. So what I've been doing this week is I've actually had this box. Oh fuck. I messed it up. There we go. Okay, I fixed it. So I've actually had this box kind of in here helping push the cards together in order to help get some of the air pockets out. There's still a bit. You can see it's kind of like accordioning out when I let go. That's fine. The air will escape over time. So over time, everything will kind of settle down, which is great. Undergrowth Champion. If damage would be dealt to Undergrowth Champion while it has a +1/+1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove a +1/+1 counter from Undergrowth Champion. Landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Undergrowth Champion. This one works exceedingly well with that Retreat to Kazandu, because you just put tons of +1/+1 counters on this thing, and then anytime it would take damage, it doesn't take damage, it just loses a counter. Here we go. Okay. So this boy over here, this is the big boy. This is the good one. This is my commander, Karametra, God of Harvests. This one right here is special. So Karametra, God of Harvests. It's a 5-drop, 3, a green and a white. It is a 6/7 legendary enchantment creature, God. Has indestructible, and as long as my devotion to green and white is less than 7, so as long as there's less than 7 green or white mana symbols on any permanents that I control. Karametra isn't a creature, it's an enchantment. But its ability is whenever I cast a creature spell, I may search my library for a forest or plain, put it into my battlefield tapped, and shuffle my library. So once again, getting tons of land cards on the field very, very quickly. This one is very special. This is the Commander, which I am super, super excited about. Hello. Yes, I know. Cage Sun, 6 colorless mana. As Cage Sun enters the battlefield, choose a color. Creatures you control of the chosen color get +1/+1. Whenever a land's ability adds 1 or more mana of the chosen color to your mana pool, add 1 additional mana to your mana pool. Kind of a good doubler. Very nice. It's one of the secondary things this deck does, is really ramping this mana up. Although most commander decks I've seen actually have something like that, where a lot of it is based around doubling your mana. Reliquary Tower in shiny. You have no maximum hand size. God, I love it. Love it so much. Much better in a paper game, I think, than in Arena. It's much more manageable when you actually have a physical hand of unlimited size. Only thing is, there's not a massive card draw engine in this deck, so we're not gonna get as crazy as with the elves. But having this on the field is still extremely good. Over here we've got another good one, Vivian Reed. She is unfortunately not a very cheap planeswalker, but her abilities, even if we can't get to ultimate with this one, her abilities are so worth it. And they fill so many of the areas where green tends to be lacking. But the big one is still that +1. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may choose a land or creature card from among them, reveal it, and put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Being able to draw so many cards and being able to be a little choosy about those cards, especially in a commander deck, is going to be very, very good. So Vivian Reed is an exceedingly welcome addition to this deck. Broken Bond, also shiny. Sorry, foil. I guess I should say foil. A lot of people like the foil. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So basically, some removal for any sort of enchantments or artifacts that are going to cause me some hassle. It's rather cheap at 1 and a green, and it lets me put an extra land onto the battlefield. I guess the biggest issue with this one is just that it's a sorcery, not an instant. Because I've seen some games where having an instant enchantment or artifact removal would probably be for the best. Over here, we got another fan favorite, and another favorite of mine, Helm of the Host. Shiny, foily Helm of the Host. I should not need to explain to anybody around my channel what Helm of the Host does, but I'm going to anyway, because I love it. Whenever, at the beginning of your combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of the equipped creature, except the token isn't legendary if the equipped creature is legendary. That token has haste. Absolute mad lad. I love this card so much. It might not have the greatest effect in this particular deck, but you know what? I now have a Helm of the Host, so I can either keep it in this deck, or if I should so choose later on, I can replace it, move this to a deck where maybe its talents would be better suited, maybe like a token deck. Thing is, though, I do have some token generation in this deck, so this isn't an absolute waste or anything. This is still a really, really good addition, and honestly, Helm of the Host can just really augment any deck with how good its ability is. Absolutely love that card. Mulatani, Yavimaya's avatar. These are words. Also, a foil. I really decided to go a bit overboard with some of the blingy, but I'm fine. It has reach. It has trample. It has a little boy eating my envelopes down here. No. Accidentally scared him because I knocked him over. Let me put these in here so you can't mess with them too much. Oh, let me try and reach this one. There we go. Alright, put these aside. Cool. Legendary creature, elemental avatar, reach and trample. Very good for this kind of green card. We need more reach in these decks. This card gets +1/+1 for each land I control and each land card in my graveyard. For 1 and a green, return 2 land cards you control to their owner hand. Return Multani from your graveyard to your hand. Now the thing is, I have a bunch of cards in here that make it so that you can play more than 1 land card per turn. I think the maximum you could potentially get in this deck is, I want to say close to 5 land cards per turn. Give or take. Maybe closer to 4. It's still a lot. So, 2 land cards to my hand isn't really an issue, especially if I can reset those land cards and get a bunch of landfall triggers again. Glazing Greatheart. Wow, Grazing Gladeheart. Oh, Jesus. Buddy, you need to settle. You need to settle. Oh my goodness. No, I'm busy right now. We're doing stuff. No. 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 I hate when he does that, though. He drops this thing in the middle of the night. Because people are sleeping. That freaks people out. Landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, gain 2 life. What's weird about this one, though, is you may gain 2 life. I don't know too many decks that would say no to some life gain. But I guess it's an option. LL. Is that in response to my cat knocking over this massive thing? Okay, so this is one of the other graveyard recursion land cards. Ramanap Excavator. Oh, I'm putting this on backward. This is supposed to go from the top. Now this one is a creature card, so it is a little bit more susceptible to the shenanigans of others. But this one does allow me to play land cards from my graveyard. What is this one? Oh lord. Hang on. Let me get this. Let me get this. Ooh, I got that one a little bit out of its inner sleeve. It's not too bad, so I might just leave it. We're gonna tap that down. What is this? I'm guessing this is my my cat being a derp. Oh no! It's not in there. I'm gonna have to copy it from over here. Got a promo foil of the Excavator. It is a really good card. Glazing Greatheart. Wow, Grazing Gladeheart. I didn't even see what he did. He just wall jumped off of it and knocked it the fuck over. What a Glazing Greatheart. Wow, Grazing Gladeheart. Oh my god. That boy. That boy. We're leaving that. I'm gonna post that later. Good times. Good times. I realize I don't have my chat up on my window up here. That might be why I missed up earlier. Let me go ahead and add this. Let me go ahead and add my chat. Chat box. There we go. Add source. We'll add this one. Add existing. And I don't know. We'll put it. I don't really have a good spot for it, so I guess you guys are kind of going over the corner of my cards here. That should be fine. So Maria Angel, also a foil. Flying, and she's got landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you may create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. Not bad for a 3/3 for 4. Now, the best part about this deck I've found is that if you still got basic lands in the deck, which you will for a decent chunk of the game, and you get one of those graveyard recursion land players on the field, and you get like one of the cards in here that let you play multiple land cards per turn, you can actually build up this engine where you can get, I don't know, 6 or 7 different landfall triggers in the same turn by using things like, what is it? The Evolving Wilds. You can basically keep replaying Evolving Wilds from the graveyard, sacrificing it, and getting a second land on the field from that Evolving Wilds in the same turn. Getting yourself upwards of at least 6 landfall triggers per turn. Because every time the Evolving Wilds comes out, that's a land, and then whenever it brings out a basic land, that's another land. So we got ourselves an Ixalan's Binding here, in foil, of course. Fantastic card. Love Ixalan's Binding. Especially good for any sort of rat decks. I did also get a Terramorphic Expanse. I think that was my second to last non-basic land in here. That one's lost at this point. But yeah, I did have a Terramorphic Expanse and an Evolving Wilds. So we got double the fun. Panharmonicon. If an artifact or creature entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Boy, he is riled up today. Yes, I heard that. I heard that. Boy, he's excited. Well, he was excited. I don't know why. Do I need a snow command too? Primeval Bounty. This one is also just a really nice card. It's got 3 separate effects. So if I cast a creature spell, put a 3/3 green beast creature token onto the battlefield. Whenever I cast a non-creature spell, put 3 +1/+1 counters on target creature I control. And whenever a land enters the battlefield under my control, I gain 3 life. Oop, whoop. You heard me. You heard me. This card is ridiculous. It's a 6-drop, and it just lets me do some crazy things. So basically, whenever I cast a spell, like any spell, it's gonna get something off. I think I love the part where if I cast these spells, it's basically gonna do its effects. So even if they get the counter on it, the spell was cast. This is on the stack. Huh, I just realized foiled cards don't have the seal of authenticity at the bottom. That's weird. That card is so ridiculous. I love it. There are some crazy enchantments out there. So we got Staff of the Sun and Staff of the Wild Magus. Whenever I play a white spell or a plains, or whenever I cast a green spell or a plains, gain a life. Rare mythics have seals, but I'm noticing that if it's a rare mythic foil, it doesn't have that seal at the bottom. Because I've just had a couple of these. Like this Primeval Bounty doesn't have a seal. Although this one does. Nisa does. Oh, she needs a clear. Huh. This is weird. Seals are newer. Maybe that's why. These are M14. They're not super old. They are a bit older. Okay. So she actually needs something a little different. Oh, I completely forgot Staff of the Wild Magus. Y'all didn't see that. It's fine. See, it's fine. It's fine. This one's not that bad anyway. It's shiny, but it's only an uncommon. So, worst case, it's like 50 cents. Alright. Let me go grab my clears. Where put my clears? No. Oh yeah, they're in here. This one. He bite. He bite. So these ones are my clear, which I put these on one of my decks. I actually bought these thinking they were white, not clear. But that's fine because these are perfect for these double-sided flip cards. And I'm actually going to have to go find a token to use for this. I might just use like a cheapo basic land or something. I don't know. But there's probably an actual card, kind of like I used for the other one out there, which I might just go see if I can find that. But you put these clears on, and then you can flip it. And this one sits with my tokens. But she lets me search my library for a basic forest card, reveal it, put it into my hand, and shuffle my library. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under my control, if I can control 7 or more lands, exile her and flip her into a planeswalker. She has some nice abilities. The best one being creating 6/6 creature land tokens. Can't really get this to focus. That's fine. That's probably her best ability though. So we're gonna set her off to the side here. What do we got? Seals came out in Core 15. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense then. Ooh, my friend needs me to send her meme knowledge. Head to bed, Lucky. Alrighty. We have a fantastic night, and I will see you later. Let me flip it. Hang on. Cheers. Cheers. White Sun Zenith. Put X 2/2 white cat creature tokens onto the battlefield. Shuffle White Sun Zenith into its owner's library. It's X and 3 whites. So, not too bad, not too bad. Embodiment of Insight. Vigilance. Land creatures you control have vigilance. Landfall. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may have target land you control become a 3/3 elemental creature with haste until end of turn. It's still a land. This is especially useful. So this is kind of the third or tertiary strategy of this deck. There are a couple end games. I've got a few massive bombs in here, but one of my other win cons that I've got in this deck is turning my lands into large creatures. It's not really the primary win con, but it is a win con nonetheless. Ooh, I'm on the wrong side. Twice. There we go. Admonition Angel. Whenever land enters the battlefield under my control, you may exile target non-land permanent other than Admonition Angel. So good! I could just keep exiling all of my opponent's shit. It's so good. Alright, and then a coupon for Channel Fireball, which I actually super enjoy. So we'll keep that for later. Alright, so the next one we'll do is probably this Rogue's Passage one. Let's pull out my cards here. Throw this off to the side. I don't remember if this is the one that has it or the next one. I should have one of my rarest, more expensive cards in one of these packs. Rogue's Passage. For 4 and a tap, target creature can't be blocked this turn. So, yeah. For some of these endgame bombs that can get massive, this is going to be extremely good. And once again, it's another land. Just lands. So many good lands. And I probably haven't even found, like, the best of them. There are some really good ones out there that would work exceedingly well in this deck. Genesis Hydra, one of them bombs that this deck runs. X, green, green. And it's a plant. Very important, because with Avenger of Zendikar, it gains power for plant creatures. So this is a plant Hydra. When I cast Genesis Hydra, reveal the top X cards of my library. You may put a non-land permanent card with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Then shuffle the rest of your library. Genesis Hydra enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. So the great thing about this is that not only do I cast a freaking huge Genesis Hydra, I cast a freaking huge Genesis Hydra and also something else from my library. You make that number sufficiently huge enough, you can basically search your entire library for almost any card and cast it for free. And also have a giganto Genesis Hydra. Lifecraster's Bestiary. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may pay green. If you do, draw a card. Very good. Pretty cheap for this as well. It's only a 3-drop. So, played early on, I can get a decent amount of card draw from that. Marius Shepherd. Landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you may return target non-land permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. If that land is a plains, you may return that non-land permanent card to the battlefield instead. So, once again, more graveyard recursion. It's not the main theme here, but it's probably one of the stronger secondary themes that this deck has. Just because things are in the graveyard does not mean they're gone. They're actually being dredged up pretty regularly. Retreat to Emeria. Landfall. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, choose one. Put a 1/1 white core ally creature token on the battlefield, or creatures you control get +1/+1 till end of turn. This is probably one of the weaker enchantments in this deck. Honestly, I wouldn't be too upset if I lost it or swapped out. Probably one of the more willing to swap. Oh, there she is. We're gonna skip for a second. This is Azusa Lost But Seeking. I have sought her for actually quite a bit. This is the MTG, I think Masters 25 version, which is actually probably a little bit cheaper than the original Kamigawa, but that's fine. You may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns, and she is only a 3-drop. The worst part is she is a 1/1 or a 1/2, and she is a creature, but you know what? As long as I can keep her on the field, that is 3 lands per turn that I am able to drop on the field. Pair that up with one of those graveyard recursion cards, and Azusa is going to get me 6, count them, 6 land drops per turn alone. 3, really, if I don't have that. Which is still exceedingly good with all these landfalls. Blossoming Sands enters the battlefield tapped but gains me 1 life. Tap for green or white. Nothing fancy, doesn't need to be. I've already got some fancy land cards in here. Got a lot of fancy lands. Fancy lands for a fancy lad. Hydra Broodmaster, another really big bomb. It is a 6-drop, but once it's on the field, I have the ability to pay XX and green, and it becomes monstrous for X, which means you put X +1/+1 counters on it, and when it becomes monstrous, you put XXX green Hydra creature tokens onto the battlefield. I know, it's really confusing and stupid, but you know what? This is a 7/7 for 6. And with that extra ability in there to not only make itself X larger, but create a bunch of XX creature tokens, that is exceedingly good. Vine Lasher Kudzu, another plant. And there go these things because they have a little bit too much air in them. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under my control, put a +1/+1 counter on Vine Lasher Kudzu. Now this is a 2-drop. It starts as a 1/1, but think about how quickly I'm going to be able to make that grow with all those lands entering the battlefield. And on top of that, pair this with Avenger of Zendikar, and I can potentially make it grow 2 per turn. Or 2 per land drop, rather. Which is even better. So with everything I have currently, I'm going to take these, stick it in here, so that we can start getting these to air out a bit. I'm going to put Nisa at the bottom here. She goes with my tokens. We're going to get all these big boys into my deck box. Kind of push things down and get them rest in here. These will basically start to squeeze together as I put more into here. And as they squeeze together, they will remove a bunch of the air from here. Now I think if I remember correctly, I've got about 10 or so cards I was unable to get for this deck. So I'm still not quite to my 100 cards that I need, but I am super close. Liege of the Tangle. Trample, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may choose any number of target lands you control and put an awakening counter on each of them. Each of those lands is an 8/8 green elemental creature. As long as it has an awakening counter on it, they are still lands. Actually, I just realized that just says I can put any number of lands I control as 8/8 creature tokens. That means I could put, with one attack, I could put every land that I control as an 8/8 green elemental creature. Holy shit. Council's Judgment, Will of the Council. This is a nice little Commander's... what would you call it? Not really a staple, but this is a really good card for Commander. So one of the side parts of Commander, one of the secondary things is, because it's a 4-player game, there's a lot of table politics, and Council's Judgment allows each player to vote for a non-land permanent that I don't control. And the permanent that is voted the most, or has tied for the most, gets exiled. So this is a really nice card to play with those table politics. It's got some potential for betrayals. It's got some potentials for making some fun times, so I like it. When Grapsipate enters the battlefield for each opponent, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent. So whenever this thing enters the battlefield, I get to decide on 1 non-land permanent that each of my opponents control and say, I don't like these 3 things. Get rid of them. Spawning Wildwood. Another land card, but for 3 mana, until end of turn, this becomes a 3/4 green and white elemental creature token. That is still also a land. Let's see, Wilderness Reclamation from one of the new sets, actually. This one is very nice. At the end of during my end step, untap all lands I control, leaving them all open for later. Especially useful with making them into creatures, because then they will be available for defense, basically. I don't have a lot of instants in this deck. If I was going to replace a bunch of these cards, I would probably replace them with instants. Beast Whisperer. One of the probably main ways for me to draw cards in this deck. I don't have a ton. I have a little bit of card draw, just enough, I think. Beast Whisperer is probably one of the better options, if I have access to it. Sylvan Awakening. This is also one of the newer cards. This one's from Dominaria. Dominaria? I go with Dominaria because I like the long A's. They sound fancy. Till end of your next turn, all lands you control become 2/2 elemental creatures with reach, indestructible, and haste. I think my favorite part of this is they get indestructible and reach. With the only downside being that it's only until the next turn, and it's a sorcery, so I have to play it on my turn. But play this with one of my other cards that kind of benefit these, like the one that gives all of my land creatures vigilance. And that becomes a pretty dangerous card. One of my good end games. And the last card that I've grabbed during this round, World Shaper. Some people might already know what this one does. This is also one of the newer cards. But whenever it attacks, you may put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Might already see where this is going. Whenever it dies, put all land cards from your graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. So not only is this just a really good graveyard recursion card, but the fact that it brings all land cards back is very nice. So we're just going to work these in as such. I've actually found that once you get most of the deck put into this box, the easiest way to put the cards in is actually just to kind of like shuffle them in. Because they're very smooth, they'll go down easily, and as they go down, they're going to push out the air. So this is one of the easier ways to get some of that air worked out of your double-sleeved cards. So for anybody who was wondering about how to double sleeve cards, now you know. So we're going to take Clonny Heart Expedition out. This card is way too slow for this deck, and really not that fantastic. So we're going to set that one aside. We're going to put these sleeves back with this one. And so we can actually count how many more cards are missing from my new deck by just counting, we'll just count the number of greens. So 5, 6, and 7. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, just 6. So I am 6 cards away. So I'm probably going to check my local game store. I know I was going to go over there this Friday. Maybe play a couple pickup rounds. I don't think I'm going to stick around for the whole night, but I was going to go over and play a bit this Friday. So I might check to see if I can find the 6 that I'm missing. If not, I do have them saved. I can find them on TCG Player or whatever. Card Kingdom is the other big one that a bunch of people use. Once again, just going to throw it out there. Not sponsored in the slightest. Tappedout.net, TCG Player have not sponsored me. I am not in any way affiliated with them. This is the first time I've actually bought from them, but you know what? It was a pleasant experience. I got all the cards that I wanted. They were all very good quality. Everything was very well packaged too. I was a little worried about that, I'm not gonna lie. I know that they built their whole company around shipping cards out to customers, so clearly they probably have some experience with shipping these cards. But I'm not gonna lie, I was still a little bit worried about the shipping of this precious, expensive cardboard. But yeah, that came out really well. I am super excited. I can't believe I'm only 7 away from my deck being complete. I have this Saproling, but I don't think it's for this deck. I think it's for my other one. So I'm just going to set this aside still. Probably with this one. I'll come back to it. But yeah. So we are very close. Now the reason I had this down here, and actually we're gonna do something real quick. Ooh, what's going on there? Okay, whatever. We're gonna take this and we're gonna size this down below me. We're gonna move this and we're gonna do like that. Put it over here, and we're gonna move this one over. Nope, not that one. Actually, yeah, that one. That was fine. We'll move this one over here because we don't really need this too much anymore. And we're gonna move this over here, and we're gonna put it underneath the music bar, and that's gonna do a thing. Okay. And we're gonna transition. Maybe. Hopefully y'all can see that. Can you see that? You can see that. Okay, cool. Now I don't have a ton of time left, so I don't know how much longer we're gonna keep this rolling. Because it is already 11:40, and I do need to work tomorrow still, so I can't get to bed too terribly late. But I did kind of want to... Wow, this is a massive pile of cards. I do want to edit this a little bit. Ooh, that's not doing what I wanted it to. Alright, that's fine. I just gotta move this over like this. Okay. So we have some cards on this acquire board, and I'm basically gonna take and move to, or take out of this board, really. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this yet. I think what me do is this over here. So first one will be Nisa, Vastwood, Seer. I actually don't know which one this was. I think it was from the vault. Transform. Let's see. Sometimes you can find... No, it's not that one. It's not that. So it's not from the Vault Transform. It's probably Magic Origins. Magic Origins. Yeah, it's Origins. Okay. So this is an Origins. It's a foil. We're gonna add that to the board. What I'm gonna do okay, it is prototype, so that'll make it a little easier for me. Just in case I can't find it later. Alright, so this is back in here. Y'all can't actually see that. That's off screen a little bit. There we go. Move this over here, I suppose. Vine Lasher Kudzu. This is... It's not guild kits, that's... Is it guild kits? Oh shit, that might be guild kits. Is that... Simic? No, that's not gonna be guild kits. It's probably gonna be dual decks. Dual decks. Vraska versus Jace. Symbol. No, it's not that one. Maybe it is the guild kit. Guild kits 2 Vine Lasher Kudzu. That must be a guild kit. Yeah, that is a guild kit. Okay. Guild kits, no foil. We'll add that one. Get rid of the original. So the big thing here is I'm trying my best to keep an actual inventory of what cards I really have and what sets they're from. Especially for some of these that I, you know, they're worth a little more, right? They might not be the most expensive cards, but they're still worth a little bit. And I want to kind of keep track of that, just so I know, you know, what do I actually have? What's all this then? What's all these things? This actually might take a while, so I might not really do this on stream too much, because this is probably going to take much longer than I'm wanting. This is the Broodmaster, so we need to take the Broodmaster off. Yeah, I think we might kind of cut things here, because I think this might take a bit too long to do on stream. So, yeah, let's go ahead and we'll end things. Oh shit, if I go to my ending, it's gonna not have my webcam correct. That's fine. It doesn't have it up anyway. So, everybody, thank you so much for watching. We're gonna roll credits here. I'm gonna find someone for us to go see. I don't know if anybody's really around. Who's online? Actually, I think Trados might be online. We might go raid Trados simply for the fact I kind of want to... Oh, wait, hang on. Hang on. You know, I really did kind of want to go see Trados playing The Sims, but... I'm sorry, not The Sims. He's not playing The Sims. Actually, he's not even online now. That's fine. Oh, no, wait, he is. Oh, okay. Well, he's playing Tropico 5. I did kind of want to go see that, but the thing is... Sixation is playing Twitch Sings. And I kind of need to go see this now. So, we're gonna go join in on Sixation playing Twitch Sings. So everybody have a fantastic night. Here's my end stuff. Don't forget to do the things if you want to see more things in the future. Other than that, all I'm going to say is have a fantastic night. I hope to see y'all again. Be safe, be good, and good night.
With me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, and let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel.